All right, let's talk about the playoffs. The 49ers right now are sitting at eighth, so they're on the outside looking in. Seven teams make the playoffs, obviously. The four division winners and then three wild cards. The top division winners right now, starting at one, you have Philadelphia, then you have Seattle, Detroit, Tampa Bay. Those will be, as it stands right now, the division winners. Obviously, there's going to be some change. Then the number five seed, which I think is either going to be Seattle or Los Angeles, currently is Los Angeles, the Rams. And then the sixth seed is now Chicago, who just passed Green Bay after Green Bay lost to Philadelphia. So Chicago sitting at sixth and Green Bay sitting at seventh. The 49ers are just below them at eighth. So, like I said, outside looking in. The thing is, though, I feel that the 49ers have the best schedule moving forward of all of these teams. They are most likely going to be favored for the next four games that they play, and in that stretch, they will also have a bye week. So they should, theoretically, not lose a game for at least 5 weeks here, right? So the hardest game over this stretch, I think, is going to be Arizona, which is this week. Arizona is a bit of a feisty team. Honestly, should have beat the 49ers the first time they played. It seemed that way the whole time. They are going to be playing without Kyler Murray, which I think for the 49ers is a good thing because every now and then Kyler can just turn it on and beat any team. I think Jacoby is a little more consistent, but he doesn't really scare you as a defense. But we'll see. Right now, all offenses need to beat San Francisco is consistency. You just need to not shoot yourself in the foot, it seems. But we'll see. This should be the hardest game over the next four games. They then play Carolina, who is also in the playoff picture, just below San Francisco. Then they play Cleveland, and I know that I forgot his name, but the DC for Cleveland has had Shanahan's number for a while. He's always given him fits, but God, Cleveland's so bad. There's no excuse to lose to them. I know that you struggle versus whatever scheme, but you gotta beat Cleveland. Not good. And then after Cleveland, you go into the bye, which would be so nice. I feel like the Niners could have used a bye like 20 times this year, but we finally get it after the Cleveland game. And hopefully they can go into Tennessee, just take care of business, beat Tennessee, and then you're looking at your first game where the Niners are probably going to be underdogs, and that's going to be versus Indy. They have a very balanced offense. They're moving the ball really well, especially on the ground. And given the 49ers struggles versus the run as of late, it should be a challenge. It's going to be hard. Beating Indy will be very difficult. They can drop that game and still make the playoffs. If they went 4-0 for the weeks before that, you would say that the 49ers would then be 10-4 going into the Indy game. You lose that game, 10-5. Now you're going to go play Chicago. And then Chicago has been playing at a pretty high level as of late, right? So they started the season slow, but that's kind of to be expected. Young quarterback, new head coach / OC, play caller. And it took them a minute to get their feet under them, but now they're playing at a pretty decent level. I think the 49ers should still win that game. I think that their high-end players are still higher end than the Bears' high-end players. But you got to win that game. If they win that game, I think that they make the playoffs. I'd say that that's a good chance that that's a pseudo playoff game. Whoever wins that game might be that the situation might be that whoever wins that game is going to end up in the playoffs. I believe Chicago, after the 49er game, goes and plays Detroit. I would imagine they drop that game, and the 49ers are going to have Seattle come to them, and I would imagine they drop that game too. Never say never, but Seattle's looking really good. 49ers have gotten nothing but injured since their first game versus Seattle, and that was a tight game. So I'm not sure that they're going to beat Seattle, but let's just say they lose to Indy, they lose to Seattle. They'll have taken 6 losses on the season, gone 11-6, and that should be good enough to make the playoffs with the current NFC as it looks right now. The other teams that have the chance to take that 6 or 7 seed, I feel that those are the only 2 seeds really available. Seattle and Los Angeles are going to, whoever doesn't win the division is going to end up with the 5 seed. Chicago is going to play Minnesota. And, they have a chance to just bury the Vikings right off the rip. If they can beat the Vikings, and then Green Bay is going to play the Vikings a couple times, I think that those teams can just essentially bury the Vikings and maybe take them out of contention entirely. Chicago is going to play Minnesota. They're going to play Pittsburgh. You can never really tell with Pittsburgh. I would never bet on a game against Pittsburgh. So it's hard to say whether who would win that one. Philadelphia, good team. I would imagine Philly wins. Green Bay is going to play Chicago. Good game. Toss up. Cleveland, Green Bay, San Francisco, and then Detroit. So that's a tough schedule, right? Would you say the odds of them getting to 11-6 are the same as the 49ers? Probably not. You would say even if they beat the 49ers, they might still not even get to 11 wins. Green Bay has the Giants, Minnesota, Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Chicago again, Baltimore, and Minnesota. So again, also not a very easy schedule. You're going to see these NFC North teams cannibalize each other a little bit. You're going to watch, maybe they're splitting, but there's a lot of NFC versus NFC North on NFC North games moving forward, which is great for the 49ers. And, if they split, that's just a win and a loss to either team, whatever. That's 500 on those 2 games, and that's good for the 49ers. If you see one team sweep one of the teams moving forward, then you're going to see, that might put that one team slightly ahead of San Francisco, but then that will essentially tank that other team who just got swept. So there's a lot of, I feel, optimism about making the playoffs. So, and I think that that's got to be the goal. I think that you just need to make that dance. I think there are plenty of examples of teams who are not that good making good runs, and they completely change the history, and they're viewed in a different light. But like I was saying, the one of those Giants teams that won the Super Bowl against the Patriots had no business winning almost any of the playoff games that they were in that year. Beating Green Bay, beating San Francisco, and beating the Patriots at the end. They should have lost all 3 of those games. They didn't. They're a worse team than all 3 of those teams. But it doesn't matter. They got the trophy. And now if the 49ers can do that, the quest for 6 is over. You've got your 6th trophy, and you're going to just be put on that pedestal of great teams, even if you weren't that great of a team. So I think that has to be the goal. I don't think that you tank. I think that that's lame, and that's how you get fired. So anyway, that's the kind of the playoff picture right now, and we'll keep updating that and see where things are. But as it stands, San Francisco is on the outside looking in with a huge game this week versus Arizona. Not necessarily a must win, but if you do win, helps you a ton. If you lose, you're really, really hurting your chances at playoffs. So as close to a must win as it gets, and we'll keep you updated. We're going to do a preview of the game versus Arizona as well. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys.